another deliciously motivating mindset discussion. We'll have a discussion today instead of a chit chat. Hey, Deb.
Okay, I'm up for a discussion on this one. I've got my voodoo woodoos on. I'm ready for it.
Today we're going to talk about what it means to be a multidimensional being. No music, no do do do.
No, do 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 do. It can't be a do 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 music.
No, that's true.
This has to be
more ethereal.
Yeah, yes, that's it. Yeah, yeah. I was trying to think. What's that? There was an alien program. Oh, anyway, I was trying to think of that theme song. Anyway, multi-dimensional being. Oh my gosh, now we just put it into aliens. Okay, I'll be quiet. I'll let you lead it go.
I think we are. I'm an alien, aren't you? I think you must be. Yeah.
I just don't tell people.
Yes. So I love this whole topic, but before we dive into the whole discussion about what it means to be multidimensional, Deb, let's do our little check-in to see on a scale of 0 to 10, where are we?
I would say an 8 or 9. 8.5 actually, because as soon as I said 9, I didn't feel right.
Okay.
Yeah, 8.5. 8.5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put myself at an 8. Just because that's what it feels like for me right now. But
okay.
And we'll never know. Maybe I'll be a 15 when we're done.
Well, being a multi-dimensional being, you can be whatever number you want,
love. Whatever I want.
I like that.
So before I would like to talk about this idea of being multidimensional, but Deb, how would you describe it? What's your feeling of what this idea of multidimensionality is?
Well, when we talked about this, I just instantly went, does this mean I've got a lot of personas that are sitting there behind me, that are personalities that come out? Is this what this means, like the multi-dimensional being? Does this mean I've got all these personas who come out and do, like I say, oh, my team will do that, and knowing it's me doing it, or I say, oh, we present like this way, and I go, you're the only one who presents. So the multi-dimensional being, does this mean I've got all those personas in there, or what does that actually mean, a multi-dimensional being? Somebody who adapts to everything that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Multi-dimensional being.
No, I like that. So there's a number of different, of course there's a number because it's multi, of different ways of seeing this. So I'm going to take you through a couple of definitions that have been sort of passed down to me, if you like, that I talk about 4 dimensions. One of the services that I offer is called Akashic Record Reading. And so it's called an Akashic Record Reading.
Okay.
So the Akashic,
it's your accent.
Yes, the accent. So the Akashic field is said to be the record of everything of us since we became a soul, right through to now. And so it's a place where we can go in and check in for any kind of limitations or beliefs or contracts that don't serve us. And there's ways that we can access them and clear them out. But I wanted to bring that up because this is where what I'm going to describe to you is to describe what are called the 4 dimensions. Now, I actually think that there's 12 dimensions in all, and they're always affecting us or taking part in what our experience is.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean when I say one-dimensional. It's just a dot, right? And then a 2-dimensional is like a drawing, a flat drawing.
Yeah.
3-dimensional is our body, right? This physical body is in 3D. We are aware of it. The next dimension is called the 4th dimension, and that is the dimension of which is where your thoughts and your emotions exist. Now, I know that this is my body and that's your body over there. So there's a lot of separation and awareness of there's the 3D reality over there. There's 3D reality over there. Now,
yeah, and can I just say, people, when you're listening to Moira describe that, if you want to use your hands and do that, then do that. So instead of just going, how's that doing? So go over there. So look over there, and then look to the other side, just so people can help, because I have to look at my hands and do that. Yeah, I need to share that part on. Okay, carry on. Yeah, okay.
So why I wanted to say that is because as I go up in number, the differentiation and awareness of separateness gets less and less. So when we go into the fourth dimension, if the fourth dimension is the dimension of emotions and thoughts, sometimes you can have an emotion that's not yours. You picked it up from somebody else. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can have a thought that's not yours because you picked it up from somebody else. So you can see that for the most part, my emotions, my thoughts are mine, but I can pick up others, right? So there is a little bit of a blending, if you like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, I get that, yeah.
And then the next dimension is the fifth dimension, and that is where the Akashic records reside. So at any given moment, so again, there is separation because my soul record is mine, your soul record is yours, but there will be instances that will impact and you know, it's almost like a tapestry. I think that things feel and look like a bit of a tapestry where we're all, our soul's journey interacts and overlaps with others that we travel with. And then the next dimension's like sixth and seventh, and I believe that it said that at the seventh dimension is the last dimension where there's separateness, and then the dimensions above it is where we're all connected at source energy type of idea. So why I wanted to really hone in on the third, fourth, and fifth dimensional is that those are the three that are constantly at play in everyday experience, right? Because I get up and I go about my day, have my breakfast, do my stuff. That's my physical reality. Yeah. I have my emotions and my thoughts throughout that day. And I may be having things that are being influenced by my Akashic record. So it's a two-way street, right? So if I physically move, that makes me feel or think in a certain way, which then imprints on my Akashic record. But my Akashic record may store a pattern or propensity or contract or an agreement, which then makes me feel or think a certain way, which then makes me act physically in a certain way. So that's where I'm talking about the two-way street of that multidimensionality idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it totally does. And how do you know when you're jumping into what dimension you're jumping into?
Well, the thing is that you don't necessarily jump into any of the dimensions, because what I just described is almost like a flattened down layer cake. So it's like they're all firing all the time. So the concepts here, it's kind of hard for us sometimes to wrap our conscious thinking mind, because our conscious thinking mind's really only in one of those dimensions, but it's being affected by from other areas, right? So it's almost like it's a receiver from the guidance, but you can't always put words or explain it in anything better than it just feels like this.
It's a feeling.
It's very much a feeling, or it can be like a really strong pull to say or do something or go somewhere, and you have no idea. Have you ever had that experience where you've had
with something calling you to do something, you're like, why?
Yeah. Oh, look, there she says why.
Oh yeah.
No, and so that's
back in the day. Why?
Back in the day. No, but you see, and that's the thing is that sometimes it's almost like our inner compass or our heart is saying, yes, there it is, go for that. and that's what I'm saying, is your conscious mind kind of has says, I have no clue why I'm being drawn to do this or to say this or share this. It's actually something that comes up a fair bit for me, and I have long since got past the idea of questioning it, particularly when I'm doing like a tarot card reading. Words just keep coming out my mouth, and people, if somebody asks me to repeat, I usually can't. Because I'm not consciously thinking about what am I going to say to this person in answer to. I'm just allowing the guidance to flow through. And so that's what this idea of the multidimensionality is, to allow a semblance of surrender and opening yourself up to it, as opposed to it's not something that you're going to graphically get the full blueprint diagram handed to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's another level of trust as well.
Yeah.
Of being saying, okay, well, I trust this is the path I'm going on.
Yeah.
Or whatever that path is, and it's going to be okay. I'm going to come out the other side.
Absolutely. So that's the other thing too, is that so many clients will say that to me, well, what if I make the wrong choice, or what if I made the wrong choice and now I'm in the wrong space? The truth is, I don't believe that's possible, because we will always get to where we're going. Do you know what I mean? It's like we and I've kind of lost Deb there for a moment. So the idea is that no matter what choices you make, you are guaranteed to get back to get to where you're going, the end result. But you may take a scenic route. You may take the detour. You're still going to get to where you're going, though.
I think that's actually really important to say. You may take the scenic route, or you may take the detour. You may just take whatever it is, whatever way it is, but just know that route is that's the right route for you right now.
Yeah.
We come out of conversations with people, or we come out of a memory, or something's happened, and we go, gosh, if only I'd said that, if only I'd done that.
Yeah.
And we go and that's taking that route that we thought was right then, and only when we go back and we overanalyze, and I say the word overanalyze because we overanalyze. That person said that, then I said this, and if only I'd moved my shoulder this way, and if only I put my hand up, this would have done, that whole overanalyzing. But it's knowing that scenic route we took, or that alternative route, what we did was actually perfect at that time.
At that time, absolutely. And we've had these conversations before, is that after the fact, when you go into this overanalyzing mode, more.
Yeah.
More, you've become different, you've maybe learned something new, so you have no right to look at that older version, or that previous version or decision that you made, and beat yourself up for it, because it's done.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing on its own. We talk about that. We talk about people in relationships, from 10 years ago. Oh, well, I would have done it differently. Mm-hmm. And now I have to look at what that is. Or when I employ people, it's that all our past memories, or our memory recall that we pull out. And that's our triggers that have allowed us to decide differently.
Yeah.
Well, that's that fourth dimension, isn't it? Your emotions and your thoughts.
Exactly. And so the fourth dimensional, so the fourth dimension sometimes is called the dimension of the ego.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with having an ego. We all need one. You have to. So somebody else talks about that I can't quite remember where this came from, but the idea of it was to look at the ego as part of your soul, but it's like the 2-year-old. It's like the whiny 2-year-old that maybe keeps asking why, or why this? Why do I have to do this? Why I don't want to do this?
Yeah.
But we need to love and embrace the whole aspect of it. It is part of us.
And look, I have to giggle because you talked about ego, and Sandra and Daniel Biskind talk about the ego, but they have an ego puppy. They call it your ego puppy. And your puppy, and I really relate to that because it is that 2-year-old, like you, just what you're saying, because the ego puppy's going, come on, feed me, feed me, feed me, give me something to this. And you have to contain that puppy and take it for walks and love it and nurture it no matter what it does when it pees on you publicly, poos on you publicly, you know, and that's what the ego does. It does these, I do relate to the ego puppy, but it's like a 2-year-old as well. It is that, and you've got to feed it love for it to give love back, but not a-hole love.
Yes. It's the unconditional love. And I love that. I didn't realize they had the ego puppy, but I completely agree with it because, you know, it reminds me of something else that I've talked about learning how to meditate, is that your mind is like that ego puppy because it's all running off, right? And so the real thing to do is to lovingly bring the puppy back to sit on your lap for a little bit, and then it'll run off again, and you need to
and give it a little, it's going to pee in the corner and then run away and do something else, and you're just like, hang on,
but
I've just got to feed the ego puppy.
It still is cute.
But it is, it is. But I do really relate to that ego puppy, but I also relate to that 2-year-old because it is that 2-year-old, that ego that we, you know, that can build and destroy us at any time, publicly or privately.
Exactly, but it knows no better and does still deserve your unconditional love. That's, in essence, that's what this is about, right? Is to just see, and so back to what we're talking about the multidimensional part, you know, there are times that even, so we're talking about your ego acting out like the ego puppy, but sometimes your body might act out, right? Let's say you want to jog a mile and you twist your ankle. Are you going to get mad at your body because you twisted your ankle and now you can't run that mile? Sometimes people will.
Yeah. Well, I look at that and I go, okay, well, there's a greater reason why you didn't get to run.
Of course, that we created that, absolutely. But not everybody will completely drop into that awareness, right? Because, you know, it just happened to them, or it was a random thing. So absolutely, you would take the awareness into, I created this. This is, you know, that my whole big thing is I take responsibility for everything that goes on around me. I create it.
Well, the funny you were just saying that, I was just actually thinking at that time that I know people go, oh, well, I fell down the guttering, you know, and the stupid council haven't done the guttering, and then it's like, no, you ran the guttering. That's right. You ran it. Yep. You jumped that spot. There's nothing. Yes, the council didn't do their part, but you ran it. You saw it. You jumped it. Your account. No. It's the council have got to blame because they didn't. Like, no. Take accountability because it's your foot that went over that spot that you couldn't lift your ass, and you fell.
And that is it's a beautiful point because this whole thing is blame. No, blame is about taking ownership for, here I am. That's what I'm saying. Everything that we experienced, we created it. Yeah. So ultimately, and we've talked about this before, ultimately, everything that we experience and we create is for our highest and best good. Yeah. Ultimately, because otherwise, why would we do it?
Our best good at that time.
At that time, yes.
And I think and I just want to reiterate that because it's not the, you know, an hour down the track when you're debriefing a conversation where you had with the policeman and you're saying to a friend and you're like, if only I said that and if only I did that. It's at that time that you're doing the greater good. Yeah. At that time.
Yeah. But you know, this whole idea of looking at us as multidimensional beings is to help us, help our listeners, help you look at things from a bigger perspective. So to your point about the twisted ankle, well, maybe the bigger perspective is that you've been feeling a bit upset with yourself, or not expressing your emotions of hurt or sadness, or not creating the healthiest relationship with all your dimensions. And so therefore you created something that was unhealthy to get your attention to say, you want something different, you got to do something different. So
yeah, that's the key words there.
Yeah. So here's the example, and I think I've shared this. I know I've shared this with you before, Deb. I'm not sure if I've shared it with our listeners about when I broke my arm. I broke my arm, this is going back probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And this was at a time where I was doing a lot of healing, physical healing body work. I was doing a massage that I used to do Thai massage, which is like applied yoga, which is very demanding physically on my body. And yeah. I had, when we moved to Ontario, I had publicly and you know, to everybody who would listen, said, I am not going to do that therapy anymore.
Anyone who listened, yeah.
I had made this commitment and this decision that I wasn't going to do it. But then I start my practice up and I start doing it because I was good at it and people really wanted it. So I went for 2 years doing it. Kept saying, yeah, you know, I'll when I get there. And so then the upshot of it was that I fell headfirst down the stairs and broke my arm in between 2 massages. And so the point being is I created it.
Yeah.
And to your point, I could tell.
I'm laughing, thinking when you're telling me, I'm like, must have been a busy day. Would have been a chaotic day that I've got this, and now this bloody thing happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I got my foot caught at the top of the stairs and blah, blah, blah. But so here's the thing. It's very fascinating. So take complete ownership for the fact that I created that. And the gift of it was it could have been so much worse. And gosh, can you imagine? I literally fell head first down full set of stairs.
When you said head first, yeah.
Yeah. And all I did was
pretty freaking serious.
I know. I had to be lifted out on a backboard because they thought I might have broken my neck and my hip. And all it was my right arm, of course, was my right arm. And I think it took me about 8 weeks to fix it. But the upshot was I was right then and there not doing any more of those massages.
It immobilized that one particular thing that you needed the most to do that.
Yeah.
But it still had your head and you know your brain and the rest of your body functioning for other things as well.
Precisely. And so the point being is that I was literally within days able to step into the work that I said I was going to do. Yeah. So this is, I'm just sharing that from the perspective of I could have taken the really narrow viewpoint and said, oh, look, woe is me, this is a dreadful accident.
And now I can't do this and da. But in reality, you've already been calling upon the universe to say, get me out of this shite. I need to stop it and I can't do it myself.
Exactly. And so, you know.
The universe provided.
The universe provided. And so I've made a deal with my guides and the universe that I don't need to have that big of a shake up. I'll do it.
I'll listen next time.
We'll get there quicker next time.
I promise I'll listen. Yeah.
But do you see what I'm trying to talk about bringing it into this conversation about being multidimensional beings is that I know that all levels, all dimensions of me were saying, yes, do it. Like, what's taking you so freaking long?
Yeah.
To get there. And so it's like when we realize that we are all these dimensions, and not all dimensions know the truth at the same time. Sometimes we have to be a bit patient and kind and loving and nurturing and just see, you know, to the point where we were talking earlier about having this sudden urge to go call somebody or go and do something, and we have no conscious reasoning about it.
Yeah.
It's important to go follow that. That's some aspect of you saying this is the right choice to make. This is the right thing for you to do.
So that's what some people call intuition or butterfly feelings, and so what you're saying is that your fourth dimension? Because that's your emotions and thoughts, or is that part of your body?
It can be, but because they all talk to one another. Right? So even in this, if you think about it, about the fifth dimension being your Akashic record. So this is like where your higher self, your soul record, can maybe be communicating to your thoughts or your emotions, and that can feel like intuition or a tap on your shoulder or a piece of guidance, and then you're going to feel it somewhere in your body because it's kind of really tapping you on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Right. So this is like the communication from your own higher self, from your own soul, saying, do this, follow this,
wake up,
listen. Yeah, exactly. And so that's why, and you've heard me talk about this before, about the how do I feel about myself. That to me opens me up to those dimensions of communication. It's just a wee pause. How do I feel? What am I thinking? Is there something else? Sometimes we can just get sudden downloads of, oh, now I know the answer. Oh, there's the choice, right?
Yeah. Well, I find the download just in my shower. The shower is a great place for me for a download.
Yeah.
As I'll often ask myself about resolving a question, and I'll often ask myself when I'm in that shower, and it just, that download comes pretty quickly, unless I'm frustrated and I go, come on, hurry up, you're wasting my water, it's costing me money. I'm having a funk. But quite often that download comes from that shower space is where I get it. I don't know if it's because no one else joins me. It's completely away from your phone and everything. But that's where I just find that safe space to ask those questions as well.
That's beautiful. Which
people find in a meditating state, they can ask their quality questions. I just find my shower works for me.
So, I love the shower too. I love meditations. But did you know, so emotions, water is emotions. So to me, it's like the water element of water is like cleansing and getting clarity on your emotion. So to me, I've always felt that that's why we get such calming or positive insights there, is because we're enveloped in the shower of water cleansing us.
Oh, wow. Okay, no. Well, it makes sense. Of course it does.
So now, you can be very profound with your showers.
Yeah. Yeah, I just say, get in the shower. I just say to people, get in the shower. I don't tell them why. I just know it works for me.
Yeah.
And I think I'm the type that just goes, well, this works for me. I don't need to know why or how it works. I just know that it feels right. Just do it.
And that's beautiful. I love that you just said that, because you know what that is complete trust of you. Who cares why it works? Doesn't matter. It does.
Yeah, if it works, then yeah, I'm all over it.
Yeah. And so it's just to then just trust that I don't need to have somebody prove it to me or explain it even. Because and to the point that not everybody does. Like, I know some people that don't like showers at all. Maybe they like baths, or maybe they like...
I get fidgety in a bath. I'd want my phone there. I'd be like, it's too accessible. Whereas in a shower, you can't take your phone in there. Well, you can probably.
I'm sure there's something to waterproof it and let you do that if you really had to.
Yeah, yeah. So when we started this, I have to giggle, because when we started this and you said, what's multi-dimensional being, I'm like, oh, it's all my personas that come in.
Did they come in the shower with you?
Yeah, I think they all do. They'll just bundle up. So my multi-dimensional being is all my personas that I have, which we could say are probably 4, 3. We'll just throw that in there. Moira's like, no, yes.
Well, see, those are personas, because I do think we're all multiple personalities.
Yeah.
But they can technically live within these dimensions too, right?
Yeah, they definitely can. They definitely can.
But you can.
Yeah, well, I do often say to people, I'm just saying, I do often say to people that I'll say, yeah, we do this. And I'm like, it's only you who does it. Like, we present like this. And I'm thinking, it's just you who presents. And I'm like, oh, maybe that just means I've got more than one personality on stage. Yeah, we do this. We talk about this. And I'm like, oh, you are we. Yeah. A multi-dimensional being.
We, the multi-dimensional being. But, well, maybe that's the royal we too.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can get on and do your royal wave.
Yeah.
But so personas aside, personas aren't necessarily dimensions, but they are attributes of you. And each one of those personas could conceivably access or be imprinted or have different types of relationship to the different dimensions, right? So where I'm coming from is, let's say you had one of those attributes or those personality types was like the inner cheerleader, and so then you get a set on the fourth dimension. Let's say the emotion is excitement, and the thoughts are, we can do this. They're all going to interplay into a really exciting, uplifting, let's rock this, right? But you may have, let's say you have another part of the persona is a people pleaser, wants to keep everybody, wants to get other people's approval. And so then there might be a little emotion of anxious. What if they don't like what I have to say? What if I forget my words? What if I completely screw this up? Then you're going to have a bit of a different experience of how you show up. So this one's a really interesting. I'm glad you brought that part into this conversation, because that is something that you could actually use to really deepen that access to how am I feeling? What's going on? Who's speaking? Who's driving this bus? Is it the cheerleader, the one that says, I can do this, I can do anything, bring it all on? Or is the part that says, oh my gosh, I have to get these people's approval, or I have to get this acceptance, or does that make sense?
And the past experiences, where's this coming from? So, that approval, then check in again, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
And quality question yourself to think bigger. So where is this coming from? So I know I've said that, and then where did this come from? Why do I need these people's approval? Who are they to me? Are they really important? Is it, like I referenced, are they a worthy opponent to have this conversation, or is it just worth walking away and just internally dialoguing myself? ...
Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely opened up a thought process.
No, what you were just describing there reminds me of Byron Katie's The Work. You familiar with that?
No.
Process called The Work, and it's a set of 4 questions to ask yourself. So when you have something about, I have to get these people's approval, or I have to prove myself to something, is to stop yourself and say, you figure out what is the story, what's the belief, and you say, do you know that to be true? That's the first question.
That's a great one.
Isn't that awesome? And
then that just makes you grounded straight away. Boom.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then again, you ask, do you really know that that's the truth? And the third question is, who would you be without it? Who would you be without that story or that idea?
Oh.
And then the fourth thing is, how can you reframe all of this? Like, how can you re-script that story or that idea? It's a powerful way of really, really being the owner and the author of what's going on.
That's and I look at that, and so when people are in a pickle, that just those 4 questions, as long as you don't go, okay, I've got an hour, I'm going to think about that.
This has to be a short,
it's instant.
Yeah, absolutely, right away.
The truth. Is it really the truth? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like a 2-minute or a 1-minute checking you out of your other reality to go and answer these 4 questions.
Yeah.
What would you be without it? That's actually a really powerful one. What would you be without it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people hold on to their identities.
Absolutely. Because if you think you have a belief that I'm okay if this person accepts me or likes what I have to say. Let's just say.
Yeah.
And then who would you be without it? Oh my God. I'd have to be somebody that was confident and knew that I was okay just as I am. Sometimes that's really scary.
Without approval from any. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great little questions, actually. But I mean that. So when we say to people, go on and check in on yourself, go, oh, I don't have time right now.
Mm.
Like, it's a minute, not even a minute, 30 seconds. Sometimes you do something. You don't need to go, okay, I need to meditate on this, and I need my 1 hour meditation. I need a nice spot, and I need the sun, and it's not sunny. I can't do it today. All these obstacles that are coming up. That's not necessary. It's just that 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
Just take 30 seconds to a minute, honor yourself, whatever's going on in your world. And, those are great questions, but also just an awareness of what am I feeling right now? Where am I at? Rating yourself.
Absolutely.
And why? No, not why. What
why?
can I do to shift this?
You're funny.
Oh, how quick was that? Pull out that wider
well done. Yeah. So I love what you just shared though, Deb. I think it's really important because people say that to me so often too. I don't have time. I don't have time to check in on myself. I don't have time to meditate or to write in my journal. There's two really, really important things to keep in mind about that. The very first one is when every time you do that, you're telling yourself you don't matter.
Oh, no.
Isn't that horrible? It's like you're saying to your own core being, the one that
everything
deserves
else,
unconditional love, you're saying everything else outside of me is way more important than just taking that 30 seconds or that minute to check in. And then the other part about
and it is 30 seconds or a minute.
It is.
That's it. That's it.
It is true.
Put your hand on your heart. It's 5 seconds to stop you, slow your breathing down.
Continue having you can continue typing your email or having your conversation or doing whatever thought process that you're doing, writing your goals, whatever. You can do that with your hand over your heart the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not either or. It must be and.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
The other point I said there was two things that came up when you were describing that. The other one was, and I don't know where this quote came from. This is either like a Dalai Lama or a Buddha type thing, that it said the advice is for everybody to meditate for 20 minutes every day. And that if you're really busy and you can't fit that in, then the advice is to meditate for an hour every day.
I quite like that.
Yeah, it's like great. Yeah. So you're too busy, then you need an hour.
And you need longer. Yeah. Yeah. I remember the first time I started meditating, I tried to meditate. I was like, did I feed the dog? Did I put lock the door? But what do I need to do on my groceries? What time, how long, what if I fall asleep during this thing? And yeah.
It's that puppy, see? That's puppy.
Yeah. That's
puppy
the ego puppy peeing on me. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Deb, this has been fun discussion about the multidimensional aspects of us.
And it's been very interesting, and I've learnt a lot. And this is what I actually love, is when Moira and I get on these things, is I learn from Moira just as much as she learns. I'm just going to say just as much as she learns from me.
Absolutely.
But we learn from
we
learn from each other. And there's a lot of things that I've picked up on this that I hadn't even thought of. So it's definitely opened my mind wider. So let us know, people. Throw out your questions, throw out your answers to things, conversations. Let us know where you're at with all what we've talked about. Do you agree with what we say? Do you disagree? If you disagree and you don't want to put on our forum, privately send us a message.
Absolutely, please do.
We'll openly have a discussion with you, about this. I'd love to know more. I'd love to know more about what people are thinking after today's podcast of multi-dimensional being. Hearing at the very start of what I thought it was to what Moira's thinking shows you how we're black and white but merge into grey throughout.
Well, absolutely. But I actually love that you did that, because it was made for a beautiful conversation of weaving it all together. I really like that part. And so it looks like Deb just got cut off once more. But what I would like to do just before we wrap this up is to have you check in on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being really high. Did your number change at all? The number that you rated yourself at the very beginning. For myself, I think I started at an 8.5. I'm going to put myself at a 9. And Deb's back. So Deb, did your number change?
Yeah, my number definitely went up. I'm going to say mine went to a 9 as well. Okay. And just the learnings I took in of this call has been great.
Awesome.
The learnings, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you got to jump back in here with us before wrapping this up. Thank you so much, Deb. Thank you, listeners. And please do interact, comment. We'd love to see you on our Facebook group.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.